Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's Mix Live. My name is Mike Langford. I'm an engineer, producer, and mixer based out of Toronto, Canada. Here on Let's Mix Live, we are exploring some mix sessions. It's 101 different ways to make something sound good. So I'm here to show you some of the things, not that you should do, but things that you could do to make it sound better. Working on an alt country folk rock tune. The band is called The Long Wait. The song's called Back Home to Blue. This is part 3 of this. So far, last time we spent most of the time working on the vocals and working on a little bit of the drum stuff and just overall balancing. So I'm curious to hear where we're at with this this week. Because always having a break with the ears always makes a big difference, just to kind of get some perspective on it. Then again, we've been going at these about 2-3 hour chunks, so I think that's pretty good for little sit downs. If I was working all in one day, I'd probably take an hour or two break in between some of these sit downs just to get perspective on it again. But overall, I think it was sounding pretty good. If I remember last time it was coming together. I haven't listened through anything today, just to get some of the disclaimer stuff out of the way. Where we get these sessions from, there's a website called Cambridge Music Technology. If you're watching on YouTube, down below in the description, I have the information there. So if you're a new mixer or even an old mixer and you're looking to mess around with some tracks, some multi-tracks, you can learn quite a bit. Just kind of practicing some of your chops, especially against different genres that you might be able to work on, because not always we have a chance to work with other genres, especially if we get kind of tied into one thing. But there's tons of stuff up there for different genres. Also, if you're an engineer, you're a new engineer especially, being able to look at those sessions and the tracking, because you never know what someone had to start with before they started mixing. So it's an excellent resource that way as well. Cambridge Music Technology, educational resource, highly recommend it. So that's where we're getting these sessions from. Also, if you're listening at home or on speakers, just a disclaimer, sometimes when I'm EQing or checking levels and stuff, just be mindful of your own listening volumes, your own headphone volume, your own speaker volume, your own PA line array in your basement. You know who you are. Just be mindful of that. Don't want to have any damage happen to things. So keep your volumes reasonable. I'm going to flip over to our session here. I didn't time it so that the music would kind of fade out at the same time, but it worked out okay. Hello to anyone joining us right now. Again, these are live mix sessions, so if you have questions about anything, feel free to throw that stuff in the chat, and the comments too. I will check the comments on YouTube. If you think something sounds good, awesome. If you think it doesn't sound good, let me know too, because it's funny sometimes to just get some of the constructive criticism. Only thing I've done so far, open up the session today. Only thing I've done is I've made my 1 kilohertz test tones active again. So watch your ears just so we can check our levels. Oh, that sounds good. That's really good. Any time of the day. I don't want to say I'm hyper right now, but woke up and I was working on kids music, which is always fun. And then all afternoon I've been working on metal, and now we're working on country. So it's been like a full day, but going from the kids music to metal, like a 6-minute metal song coming out of a 1.5-minute kids songs. It is funny, but again, just take a little bit of a break and you're good. All right, I'm just going to make these actually, first off, because this is a new day and my naming convention here, 7th of March already. Can't believe it. Just a heads up, if you pay rent, your rent is definitely due by now. Definitely due. I'm going to make these hide and make inactive. Just right click on those. I still have the preview in here as well. I might listen to that today. I'm going to make a mental note, and maybe even on my actual noting notes, I'll make a note to listen to the actual preview that was there. When I get those from clients, I generally don't listen to I like listen to them at the very beginning, and then I'll listen to them again like when I feel like I'm 80% there, just in case there's something that I'm missing. So without further ado, I'm going to hit play on this, and I'm going to make some notes. My trusty pen, trusty analog note-taking device here. So, all right, I'm just going to have a listen through all the way, and I'm going to make some notes. Justin is here on YouTube. So what's up? Just mixing live for fun, because these are things that we think are fun. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to listen through and make some notes.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. Summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue. Many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will.
Okie doke. So that's our first listen through, making some notes. Those are my notes. I wanted to look at the reverb on the snare, just the tail of it. Bass, still messing around with the amp setting that we kind of have there, because there's a lot of movement in the bass, so I want to still be able to hear it. I don't want it to be distracting, but I still want to be able to hear it. The toms, we've talked about replacing those last time, so I might scrub through and see how much of a pain in the behind that it might be to do that. Because we don't have recorded tom tracks, so it's not the same as being able to just look at it and be able to drop those triggers in and go for it. But we'll see where we get to in a couple hours. Vocal throws before there, snare down a little bit. Also the attack, I feel like there's a little too much attack on it. So because we're using trigger, we can change the ADSR on it a little bit, so we can soften the attack on that. That might help it sit back in the mix a bit more and bring it down a little bit. 203, there's an away lyric where I think we can put a vocal throw there. So there's a couple spots in the chorus I think we can do that, so we can build that. Levels for the guitar solo, we really haven't looked at that. They're just kind of there, so we'll figure that out. De-esser on the lead vocal, I don't remember if we put de-essers on there. No, we didn't. But yeah, there's some sibilance going on there we can mess with a little bit. And there's a drum timing thing at 410 on my minutes and seconds up here, so we can look at that as well. So like there's a few things, eight or nine things to look at, but not too much overall. And again, a little bit of balancing goes a long way. Liz, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Joining us on Facebook. I threw a question to everybody. Do you love country? I like a lot of styles of music, and I do enjoy really good country production because it's fantastic. It's very polished. Justin's saying, I listened to Need You Now by Lady A in my car earlier. Great pop country record. I do love country. Great production's great production if you work in production. It's like, I guess if you work in film production too, and you see stuff that's like really well done, and you're like, yeah, they did a good job. And there's other times too when you're listening to production and you hear technical stuff that's kind of jumping out at you, and it can kind of take you out of it on first listen. But probably the same thing with films. If you see like tape or like a boom mic fall in, or like a weird edit or something like that. I'm just gonna drop in here again. I don't normally do a lot of mixed on headphones, so I'm still kind of figuring some stuff out with these. Liz says good, and I just love music. Liz, that's a fantastic answer. It warms my heart when people are just like, I just love music. It's music. It's like writing emotions in the air with sounds. Tuck that snare back a little bit more. By that. All right, I think that's okay. So I can just give a little bit of those. These are just check marks that we've at least looked at them and addressed them. Bass low end, I'm curious. Face the shadows of this truck on human highways. Sometimes the bass can just be louder and get you closer to what you were looking for. I know I'm messing around with the snare drum again. That's how it goes sometimes. I'll listen outside headphones to more of the bass stuff after, but I think for now that'll be okay. It's a fine line between like bass solo and we can hear the bass and it's doing what it needs to do. I'm going to listen through. Let's just get right to one of the things that could take a little bit of time, just those toms. So what I'm going to do is solo the overheads because that's where we're probably going to be triggering our toms off of or putting our samples in. So I think there's 3 of them. So we'll just drop in 3 tracks. We'll just call them toms. See what oh, it does automatically name them all 1, 2, 3. I didn't know if it was going to do that. Oh, it's little things. Let's just listen through and see if there's any toms in here. And if there is, we'll put them accordingly across these 3 tracks here. This is all the exciting stuff that bands don't get to see. Also, I have the Leafs box score on off to the side. It's Leafs versus Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. We laid in cross stick samples as well. We just made a sample from the actual song. Can really hear some of the timiness of the drums. Like, do time your drums and tune your vocals. 2 things. I know people... Okay. So I'm going to put tabbed transient on here. Because there's the first one. Just going to make that a bit bigger. There we go. Now, let's assume that's the second tom. So we're just going to actually use this cross stick sample here. All right, just give me a second here. I'm going to just do a couple of things here. If you consolidate these on their track, it will rename the actual clip. So now that's going to say tom 1, 2, 3. There we go. I think that's the second tom. But we'll hear if it isn't. If you're wondering if there's a quicker way to do this, you can run this at different speeds, but the song is I don't want to say it's not that long. It's a normal length. So it just takes a couple of minutes just to scrub through once or listen through once to know if we're missing anything. Okay, so that to me was what we were working on was the second tom. Because that's the first one. So we'll drop that there, drop that there, drop that there. Oh, there we go. Drop it up there. So I think there's a floor tom. And it could be a 10-inch tom and a 14-inch floor tom, but it sounds like 10-inch, 12-inch, 16. So and small crashes. It sounds like splashes, like possibly 10 or 12-inch splashes. To me, it's not a crash until we're talking 17 or 18. So all right. Assuming another splash. There's no toms here. You can see it. Okay, so that sounds like the 212 toms. And then 216s. So we're just using those as places where they're hitting the drums as markers, and then we're just dropping the samples down below. So we're just using these to trigger off of. These are just the cross stick samples because it doesn't matter. Someone at home is arguing right now that it does matter, but when you're augmenting the sound that's there with a sample, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's kind of tuned a little bit. That's the second one. That's the second one again. We'll pan these after as well. So what we're going to do, because we're just using this as trigger points, we can drop trigger 2 on these tracks, and then that'll trigger the sample. So here's the part that could be annoying. So that's the floor tom stuff that's happening there. So what we can do, this could be gross, but we'll just do it anyways. We'll just drop that on for the floor tom to see if it wants to pick it up. And if it doesn't, then we'll go through and do a better job than just grabbing this section and dropping it on there. But for now, see if it works. That's the one spot where I want to fix that. Old drum fill there is a little bit squirrely. All right, so that's it. So those are the spots. There's not too many of them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drop trigger 2 on those. So these 3 tracks here. So trigger 2 is just a way of augmenting or sound replacing, if I can remember where it is. When in doubt, use the search function. We can just use mono on those. That should be fine. So here's our program here. I'll just grab some of my stock stuff here. So what we need to do is we still need to kind of tune it to the actual drum that's there. So put that as 1. So I kind of have some stock. Again, I'm not bringing any of my templated stuff in, but I said presets are fair game because to have to build everything from scratch could be a thing. So we'll see what these sound like. So this is the second one here. So I'll put these. I just want the overhead soloed and tracks. The toms 1, 2, and 3. Also with my naming convention, I try and put a little underscore at the beginning of anything that's a sample, just so I can easily look at it. So that's a lot of. So it's a little bit higher. Okay, so that's got a second one on there. But I want that to be higher than that. So 1 second. I may have just tuned that tom down quite a bit. So I'm going to listen to the higher tom that I have. Okay, 1 second. This is life right now. Okay, I can tune this one down a little bit. Probably live with that. Okay, I can live with that one for that second tom. Let's go to this higher rack tom here. That's really high. Oops, got to bring that back down. I think it was about there. Pro Tools. Okay, that's close enough for what we need to do. So this one rack tom's over here. So I usually put my over theirs at like 73 or 74. And we can put this one over 40. Buy those and the floor tom. That's pretty low. Okay, I can probably buy that. So we have our toms in here now. Oh, let's check this part because this part could be a thing. Actually, we can do this the opposite way. Move the piano, move the bench. So we might be able to just kind of sneak that in there a little bit. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, because we don't need these very loud. So if it doesn't work, then we'll go through and basically do a better job of putting trigger points in for that. But so we have our toms here. They're crazy loud right now. Just going to try to just get a little bit of separation on them. So my hard left and right, I usually use 74 in Pro Tools. I don't know. It just has always been kind of a thing. I'm going to make a group here. Call this new toms. That's a good name for it. I'm going to deselect our drums here so we can get control over new toms. I'm going to send those down the drum bus as well. So you can see bus 1 and 2. Those are output 1 and 2. So let's make those at bus 1 and 2 because that's a drum bus. There we go. So a little bit of attack on them. I'm going to throw the reverb just from the cross stick snare over. Okay, that's a lot of reverb. It's going to bring it down a little bit. Just holding Option and dragging across those tracks to save it, like to duplicate it, sorry. Okay, that's not too bad. Check our main outs here. Alright. I'm going to do a quick rebalancing of stuff. I think our drums can be a little bit louder. So I'm just adding our toms to our main drum bus here. Because like we're not hitting our main bus at all right now. So just give me a sec on here. So if you click on this button, you can bring that fader up. I just want to keep an eye on that. And if you click the red box up here, you can make it stay on top of the, like on top of everything. Okay, so that's looking better to me. Because it always gets down to how it looks when it comes to mixing. It looks better. I'm just watching our peaks here as well. I was hoping to lean on this acoustic guitar, but I'm still not sure about it. Again, I'm just guessing a little bit in headphones right now. One nothing leaves. It's gonna bring the reverb down a touch. That looks for like a pretty heavy touch, but I was hacking at that last time. Try to glue it together with the room mics. All right, I'm gonna hop. Actually, I'm not gonna hop out into the monitors for a second because there's still things we can do. So just a little bit of rebalancing there because I wanted to just hit the main output a little bit harder so we could get to the. I like to leave -6, -10 dB FS as far as levels go for peaks. I think it's kind of a good spot in there. We can get the limiter to grab the rest of it. What else is here? There's the throws. Oh, toms replaced. I think the toms sound good with the other toms in there now too. I just wanted to show that. So just because you don't have microphones on your rack toms on drums doesn't mean you can't use trigger points off of the overheads. It'll be okay. What else? Oh yeah, I wanted to do there's that throw that's there at 203. I think we can sneak another away in there. We can sneak that in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another track here. So I can just hit Shift Command N, and I'm going to make it a mono track, an aux track, and we'll call this delay throw. And let's make this bus 13. I don't name my buses. Some people name their buses like drum group or guitars or vocals and stuff. I just use the numbers. I think the numbers are good. So what we're gonna do is let's grab a delay here. What should we grab? Grab something fancy or something safe? Let's grab something. Oh, we used H delay last time. Let's use it again. No, yeah. H delay, it's a wild beast. It's a wild beast of a delay. Sometimes it does what you want. Sometimes you're just trying to tame it the whole time. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do this the energy efficient way, where I'll just turn up this aux all the way. I'll put this in bypass, and then we'll just use it like a mute switch.
Going far away, 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 away.
So that's where I'm hearing the away sound. So I'll go over here, bus 13, mutes. That's where we are able to unbypass this. So now it's not muted. Perfect. I don't think we have a tempo for this song. I think it was close to 80. We'll try quarter note, see what that sounds like. All right, half note it is. Okay, because it's in the middle of the vocally bit here, where the mouth is making noise, I might go for level instead. So I'll bring the level of that bus, of just this. I'll bring this back down, and we'll make it not muted. And what we'll do is we'll just put a couple nodes on here. Expensive words for the day. And that way we're affecting the volume now. So now when we see this fader over here, you'll see it automate. Instead of us just bypassing it, we're now seeing the fader actually move. And it's because of the way it goes far away. I want to be able to scoop into that away. It's just trying to find out the right amount of scoop. Okay, so something happened in there. Might not be the right delay sound, but we'll figure it out. The kids will love it. Also, we can do too, because we have a delay, we can always run this into the reverb as well. That was a lot. That was too much. Okay. getting there. Feel it. There we go. Okay, so the word's right. Just got to figure out the sound for it now, which is equally not fun to try to figure out, but... Oh, that could be closer. I fussed with it and I thought it was okay. It's like so subtle because that R sound's here. Okay, now the dangerous thing. We're going to copy this. We're going to the next one. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it don't. It's 3-0 Leafs, though. But a lot of people know I'm not watching Leafs game right now. Sometimes when I turn the game on, they instantly start getting scored on. If there's ever a Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals Leafs game in my lifetime, just for the record, I will not watch the game. I will just sit outside, like in a park somewhere where I'm far enough away from the game. I'll just wait. I'll wait for the aftermath. Passing that one. Maybe we bury it. Maybe that's the problem. It's just too darn loud. I think I can buy that. I think there's some purchasing of the idea there. Other thing I wanted to do with that, because of the vocal throw that's here, we can go over to our vocal throw track. We can, because right now it's on volume, we can go to pan. I'm just curious, because I use mono sends for these things. So let's put grid mode on one bar. Let's go over here. Let's go to the triangle tool and put this in grid mode. Just bashing keys here. Let's just draw that whole thing in there because we can. So this is going to make it pan back and forth. That's pretty extreme. So we're going to redo that. And it's about there. I think that sounds like a hit song. We'll do that. Just I'm curious to hear if we can pan that delay throw that's there and see if that has a little bit of magic too. These are the things, if you had an attended session, the client or the band, they'd be looking at this like, this is genius, or like, this is terrible, because they don't get to experience the trial and error of some of these ideas. Because sometimes you can spend a long time on something that's very minor, but it can add a little bit of production value to things. Sometimes it doesn't work and you scrap it, but when people are around you, they don't understand. That's what happens sometimes. distracting, but whatever. Okay, and then sometimes you try stuff and instantly you're like, nope, not liking that. I generally don't mess around with my delays and stuff. I usually just keep stuff kind of center or playing off each other. Now I'm hearing those toms a lot too. I'm going to try one more time to bring this over now that it's quieter. Don't like it as much on that one. Maybe just on the first one, of course. Let's go to the second chorus and see if it's the same idea. Buy that. Maybe, maybe not. Well, one of those things that's easy to get rid of if we're like, nope, that's Jesus not working. But if it is, then we look like geniuses. Is that the plural? Geniuses? Genii? Okay, so guitar solo, we'll sort that out later. De-esser on vocals. Yeah, we don't have much on there. We just have the pull tack, just kind of cranking some high end on there, just to add some air to it. Well, I thought Lee scored again, but that's the wrong team. Still 3-0. This is a good chunk here. I usually put my de-esser on my actual, just gonna bring this down. My de-esser actually on my subgroup, and then I'll just mess around with it later if I need to. Let's grab old stock Pro Tools one. Let's see what it's got to offer today. All right, we should be hearing some vocals. Once I press the button. Oh, what's... There we go. What was that all about? We're just listening to what the de-esser's tuned to.
Tempo and the pace I'm going for, I saw this easy river flow last time in winter.
Should you knock it back? -6, minus,
but
-3,
this
-6.
morning burns a Memphis summer glow. I'm coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. In the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. But better still to come.
It's fine, just so your vocals aren't annoying you a little bit with those S's. All right, I can buy that. If I move anything too much on my vocal bus, I can always readjust that de-esser. But yeah, I usually just put it on, just strap it across the old subgroup for the vocals, and it should be okay. Where we're at, de-esser, that's good. Guitar solo, I'm gonna leave that. Snare timing, so at 410. I'm just trying to think of things I can do while I have headphones on before I start. Excuse me. Before I start listening more on my speakers to do some balancing, a couple mix bus things, main mix bus things. So 410. I'm just using my minutes and seconds up here. That thing in there. So what I'm going to do is try to just smooth that over. So I'm just on my drums here. I think it's just the second one that we need to move. So we have tab to transient on. I have the subgroup on for all my drums for my tracking. Sorry, my groups for all, so I can affect everything at the same time. So I'm going to tab to transient over to that tom. I'm going to hit B to make a break there. Hit B again to make a break there. Hit B again to make a break there. I feel like it's this. That part is the part that... So I'm actually just going to drag this over a little bit. I'm just listening. I can buy that. Okay, so I'm going to ungroup. Actually, I'm going to regroup our drum stuff here. And I'm just going to pull this back a little bit to behind that transient. And it did the thing I didn't want it to do. So what I'm going to do is deselect that. Ooh, looks like it's working. Because that sample's fine there. That trigger point's fine. It's still in time. And I'm going to sew these up here. And then I'm going to pull this back. Everything looks like it's okay. I'm going to sew that up. And then we didn't actually do any of this, so we can actually hit Command H to just heal that part. So we just moved this sample up a little bit. So have a listen. Okay, now I feel like the bass is out, so we're going to grab the bass here. Wrong button. Wrong bunch of buttons. So we're just going to move, because I can kind of see what's happening here with the bass. So I'm going to let's just cut that there. So let's hit B to break that. We're just going to move this over just a touch to try to line that up a little bit better with the kick drum there. We could be making a big mess here too. I can buy enough of that for what that needed to do. So we can mark that as a success. So we're marking our own work here. I wanted to Listen to these toms for a second. I wanted to knock back the attack on this, so I can just go to curves. Yep, buy that. So without even looking, maybe all of them we can put that 10 milliseconds. Unless it did already do that. That's weird. It's gonna bring that, bring down the reverb on those as well. Because there's actually quite a bit of attack on the original overheads when it comes to the top. So we're just trying to fill out the body on them a little bit more. Before I forget, because we have a whole bunch of samples back here, one of the things I try to remember to do is to just mute them. So you can highlight everything and hit Command M, and when you see it gray out like that, it means that it's muted. So the clip's still there, it's just muted. So it's a really quick and easy way to mute stuff in the track without needing automation either. Just like we did it with the snare track here, because we added the sample in with that cross stick, so we actually just muted that section there, and it seems to work all right so far. So I think we got through most of the stuff on our list. I'm going to hop on to the speakers for a minute. Made it pretty far, just going over those 8 or 9 notes in probably an hour. And Leafs are winning right now. It's just chaos. It's chaos here. All right, be right back. Just going to have a listen.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the Blue Hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. Easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always know graces, and the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. Better still to come back home. Back. This easy river flow last time and when burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle graces, and the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away.
Hey, Katie. How are you? I see your message there. I just wanted to say hi.
This easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning bird.
Yo, Gemma's here. How's it going, Gemma? Also, I see Kim Vincent's here on YouTube. Welcome, Kim. Good to see you. Hope things are going well. I liked your comment on Facebook today when someone asked for, what was it? Like the senior management or head supervisor or something like that. And you're like, I am the head supervisor. I like that. I thought that was good. It was funny. I'm just going to do some rebalancing. I'm listening on my S10s. I'm also listening on my little USB speaker here as well. Sometimes it's just a lot of rebalancing to just kind of find a sweet spot there. Or sometimes you don't find a sweet spot and then you come back at it the next day and you're like, it sounds better. So back to the speakers. Be right back. That's what it was. I'm gonna call head office on you. You should have told them, like, do it, and then hear the phone ring behind you. That would have been awesome. That's what happened in my mind. All right, be right back. So, wanted to point out the thing that happens sometimes is I bring my levels up so I can get my kick drum peaks around that -6 to -10 dBFS. And then I start turning things down again because it's bugging me. And then I'd rather have more headroom than less headroom. So I'm okay with that. But it's sounding better to me right now. So we'll just keep messing with it. Be right back.
chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. But coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. But better still, I'm back home. Back home to blue. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to Blue. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to Blue.
Okay, so I was out of the headphones for about a half an hour. That's how quick that time went by. So there's a lot of rebalancing. I also finally addressed that guitar solos there. So, excuse me, what I ended up doing was just bringing the top end down a little bit. I have got a widener that I made using the delay here. So I got the wide box here. There's lots of different ways to make the vocals a bit wider, but it's just something I've been using for years. And you know, you get old, you get stuck in your ways with things that you do, and it works. But yeah, it's just a little bit of widening. On guitar solos, I usually use a widener on those, put them center and use a widener on them. So I just drag that over to those two guitar solos here because they're kind of staircased. That's okay. Not my first choice, but I didn't track this, so it still works. So you can still see what's happening. Also, this could have been two different guitar players because the tones to me sound different enough that it could be two different guitar players. So just put those up. And for how I hear solos and vocals and stuff like that, I usually hear the snare drum just the peak of it just on top of the vocal, just above it. And I think of the same thing when I have guitar solos or any lead stuff. I just put them loud enough so that I hear the top of that snare drum just over it a little bit as far as balance. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's kind of my go-to without overthinking things. Overall, other thing I did too on our mix bus here, through Gullfoss on there, it just, again, people probably laugh at what it's doing right now, but it just does a little something to the top end to bring some brightness in. I know that I low pass a lot of my top end stuff when I'm filtering things, but Gullfoss just seems to do a little something to the top end that sounds good over here. I have NS10, so there's no like top end on them. And then I put the limiter on there too. Sometimes I get later on in a mix, I'm kind of wondering about a couple things. I'll go ahead and just throw the limiter on there, just to bring the levels up so I can kind of get a better idea. Because I did it twice today where I think I did it twice today where I kind of rebalanced my drums and then I kept pushing things down. But part of that, I wasn't really happy with what the kick drum was doing in my little USB speaker here. So it's one of those things where you might rebalance again and bring everything up, take the limiter off and then rebalance everything again. But overall, it sounded pretty good. You got like at 24-bit, you have tons of headroom. So in my mind, as long as it's over, minus 16, minus 18 dBFS, like you're plenty good there with what's going on. And someone at home right now is freaking out, flipping their table over. Hopefully it's not the table that they have their laptop and stuff on, but that's just me. At the end of the day, whatever gets it into the end zone. So also I keep with my naming convention here, I can keep saving as we're going. So right now we're in version 4, and I told you, I warned everybody, I usually constantly save. I have a hotkey made for it, so I can do save as. If you're wondering how to do that, go into your system preferences and go into keyboards, and then you can create hotkeys there. Just type in whatever is here as far as like Pro Tools, and then save as ... and then you can make your own hotkeys for things. I find that helps when I'm thinking it sounds good. I'll just do a save as and then move on. If I'm thinking it sounds worse, I can always go back in time to the previous save where I thought it sounded good. So I addressed most of the stuff that I wanted to today. We recreated that count in too, by the way. It's pretty sweet. That snare drum's sitting a lot better for me now. Okay, same thing. This guitar intro here, you can bring that down. I just duplicated that track, but didn't put any actual like audio on it. I just duplicated the track so I could change the EQ a little bit, and then we can change the volume so that we don't have to automate anything. bring the bass down a little bit. And we're kind of at the mercy of the sound of the rooms and yeah, we're at the mercy of the sound of the room, like the overheads for the drums. I can live with it. So same thing there. We can probably just put a little break right there. Copy this. And then mute that. That's not a little lead guitar part, so we'll just bring that out a little bit. I always feel like if you can get a little more juice out of the vocals, go for it. Worst that can happen, they ask you to turn the vocals down. Pro Tools? Nope.
I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue. I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. I'm coming back across, I always
That's just across our full vocal bus as well.
Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue.
Sounds different in the headphones.
I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. I'm coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away.
Just kind of tapping that compressor. I don't really use too much bus compression, like not enough that you... I miss it when it's gone, but just kind of tapping that, especially with this style of music.
absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. Dusty aspens, and that they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue.
Okay, I think we're getting there.
Rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill.
So it's on our master output fader here.
And I guess it always will.
Generally don't recommend fading out songs on the master fader, but because we've already done all our transients and stuff, we're safe to do so, I think. That fades out pretty fast. I just use these blank markers to kind of tell me where the song starts and where it ends. So if I want to export this, then I can just click those two things there. Also, because we have that selected now with the whole length there, if we hit enter, we can actually make a selection marker here. So we can call this export song. And now, should you want to, you can just click that marker. And that will select the whole song. So it's very convenient that way. So if you want to just have like, you know, the chorus or something, you could just put selections and you don't actually need to put, well, I don't actually think it gives you a marker, but they got an actual little flag over here. But the thing we can do if we just want to loop certain parts and whatnot, I think this is sounding all right. I'm getting to that point right now where it's like your perspective starts to go a little bit. I'm curious. I usually forget too late, so I'm going to... I have on my monitor section here, I have different inputs, so I can actually assign this to a different output. So this is the game we get to play where I can never remember which one the actual output is. So just give me a second here. And you just write it down. There it is. You just write down which one it is. Give me a second. I just want to A/B this, like where I'm at and where the reference was. This is always scary because yours could like mine could sound like trash, and then you just need to reevaluate a lot of things that you were doing. So be right back.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. And coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home to blue. Many roads. Many roads. Do their parts to work for all of many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue. Many rows of corn blur on the downside of the many rows. Many, many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's many, 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 many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it many rows of corn blur. Of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way. Far away, I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back.
Okay. So I was messing around with quite a few little things there, but A being between the two, between the reference and where we're at. This is where we're at. Reference.
Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across,
That's
I
us.
always notice subtle graces in the Mississippi
Reference.
River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away.
So there's a big tonal difference there, but I'm always listening for the reference for things that I like about it, because it sounds like a faders up mix to me, where we're just pushing the faders up and not doing a whole lot of EQ and stuff like that, and compression. But I'm listening for things that I like. I like the kick drum. There's things I liked about the vocal. Those are the two main things. And when I was A-Bing, because as creatures that like to compare things, having something to compare to when you flip back and forth, little things start to jump out at you, especially certain frequencies. So I was still kind of fighting with a few frequencies on the acoustic guitar. The drums, even though I was trying to get at the drum stuff from the main 2-bus mix bus EQ here, just trying to notch a couple things out of that I thought I was hearing in the drums, and overall it was making it sound a little bit better to me, and still notching stuff out of that acoustic guitar. I try to remind people, when you're EQing stuff, don't worry about what it looks like, worry about how it sounds like. Reason being is, I would believe a lot of people, if they were to look at their EQ curves on a console and how much they're cranking certain things, if they were actually to be able to visualize what it looks like, they may second guess what they're doing. So don't second guess it. If you think it needs another node to EQ and cut or boost, it's like, just go for it, because you can put 10 EQs on there, and that's totally, not say it's totally fine, but it's like, we have the ability to do that. So however many it takes to kind of get it where you want it to go, because even our vocals, it's like, it is an EQ. It's an EQ on the main vocal subgroup, and then there's another EQ just for some air on there. Sometimes too, if you're noticing when I'm messing around with the Pultec, that boost I usually find around 10 or 12 K, and then put the attenuation or the cut around 20, and I just kind of play off those two. So if I need to brighten the vocal a little bit, I can just use that boost on the Pultec. Lots of EQs work okay for most things, but I was tipped off that the Pultec is the one to use. You know who you are. Thank you. It changed my life. as far as like putting vocals in mixes. It just made it a little bit easier to add that air so they can cut through a little bit. So I was messing around with that. I think the snare drum's sounding better too. I kept trying to push that down because I still wanted the body and the kind of boofiness of the snare. But it's not like a rock song where you can have lots of crack to the snare sort of thing. But I still wanted it to be pronounced enough. So I think it's sitting in a better spot now. Overall, I think I'm satisfied where this is at. Should this be actual, because again, these are just demonstrations for educational and entertainment purposes. The idea, if I was to send this off to a client, I would step away from it right now. I would save, step away from it, and then in the morning before I send it, because I always send my mixes out in the morning, have one more listen through. A/B against the mix from today, if there's anything else I want to change, but usually it's just technical things, little clicks and pops here. There's another click and pop near the end that I was fighting with over here. That stuff that's the stuff that keeps me awake at night, is clicks and pops and technical stuff. And there's a song, without skipping ahead, there's a song that I want to put on the live stream in the near future. And I did cave and listen to the mix that was on Spotify, because a few of those songs are on Spotify. And I was just really curious to hear more from the band, because I thought the band was awesome. And I was listening to it, and I heard a click on the Spotify release, and I die a little bit in the inside when I hear stuff like that, because it's technical stuff that should have got caught. I understand sometimes things can get uploaded and get missed and whatnot, but I'm now curious, is that on the tracking? Because if it's on the tracking and it got missed by whoever was mixing it, and if it got missed by mastering, and if it got missed by the final sets of ears, it's like that stuff, it drives me crazy. So I think I'm in pretty good shape here. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So I've kind of one more listen through for... Again, we added those clicks in at the beginning. I think it sounds all right. Still fighting with the bass a little bit too, but I'm at a point with it where it's like up or down. You know, it's not too much where I'm like really second guessing the tone. And again, in my opinion, if your vocal's going to be too loud or too quiet, I side with a little too loud, because you can always knock it down a little bit. When it's too quiet, sometimes it just gets missed and it gets buried. Also, if you listen to stuff on the radio, your vocals and drums are louder than you think. Also, so instead of putting automation in that lead guitar part that I'm talking over, we just put it on a new track, so we can just put the fader up on that and change the EQ a little bit. Bring that snare drum down just a little bit more. So again, I was trying to lean on the lead vocal and the acoustic guitar, because I feel like those are the two elements that we really needed. I know I'm hammering it with compression and stuff, just go without sounds. Just sounds a little different in the headphones. Oh, also with your your reference tracks, do your best to kind of match something. I try to match the vocal, so the vocal level's kind of similar. Also, songs like this, I try to make it so I can hear every single word. I think that's important. That throw, I don't know if it'd make it. I don't know if I'd send that out tomorrow with it. I'd sleep on it. More compression on that.
Many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will.
All right. Well, I think that's sounding pretty good. I could live with that. I think in the morning I'd wake up and have a listen. I think I'd give it a nod, and then I would export that. So, as always, remove any unwanted stuff from your session. Always back your stuff up. Save copy in. You know what to do. Well, if you don't know what to do, yeah, you know what to do. Save session copy in, and then it'll go where you can save your file. Always do clean backups. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Save copy in. Audio files there. And again, 44.1 is what I work at. And 24-bit. Hit that. And hit backup. Clean backups on that. Again, if you're not backing stuff up in two different places, it doesn't exist. Just assume that it does not exist. So 2 different drives is what you want to do. If you're super cautious or you really can't lose stuff, you can always zip up your backup and put that up in cloud storage, be it Dropbox, WeTransfer. Also, if you have a Gmail account, you can just store it in your Google Drive. That works as well. So I'm happy with how this turned out. I'll be honest, the part 1 of this, I had in my head what I wanted it to sound like, and it was trying to get the pieces to come together. But in part 2, after we prep the vocals, and I'll say this all the time, time your drums and tune your vocals. Those 2 things can make such a huge difference. Even if you're trying to track stuff quickly, and there's a lot of this felt like it could have been live off the floor. But if you're multi-tracking, you're overdubbing things, take the time to time your drums. Get your drum takes, put your comp together. And this is where I would say with some studios, have someone there that's dedicated to editing just to clean this stuff up. Because once you get rolling and you have somebody else that's doing the drum editing, because it's really quick these days, especially stuff like this, even with just this amount of tracks, you should be able to rip through editing really quickly. And then you can start laying down your other instrumentation. And if you're engineering, you can just build stations in the studio, and then the next day or whatever it is come in and start ripping through stuff real quick. So I knew that, well, not say I knew, but like after listening to the tracks on here, I'm like, okay, I think I can get what's in my head to come up the speakers. And so yeah, after tuning the vocals and stuff, prepping the vocals, that helped kind of bring a lot of the stuff together. Some of the guitars are a little bit tuny. I don't want to say pitchy because they're a little bit tuny. You can hear them when they're together. They're starting to kind of rub a little bit. But we can fix that, add a little bit of chorus to something else, and you can kind of just add more sauce. It's like sometimes when there's too much distortion on something, just add more distortion to it, and it can start to tame the top end or the fizziness that's kind of there. So, but overall, I think it came together pretty good. And not just A being the reference and where we're at today. I think overall I can hear everything. So I'm happy with that. I think that means on Thursday I'll move on to something else. I've already got 2 songs shortlisted for what I want to work on next. But again, the song we've been working on, alt country, folk rock, band or group/band is called The Long Wait, and this song was called Back Home to Blue. And again, where I get these multi-tracks from, there's a site, Cambridge Music Technology. If you're watching this on YouTube, down below in the details, there's a link to that there. If you're a mixer, new mixer, old mixer, engineer, and you want to get some multi-tracks to practice on or play around with, especially if you're in that conversation about today, when people get kind of pigeonholed into something. If there's other genres that you're curious about and you want to mix some of that stuff, that is an excellent resource because there's tons of stuff on there to mess around with. All right, I'll quit rambling. See if I can catch the third period of the Leafs game. Last I saw it was 3-2, so I might not watch it just for fellow Leafs fans out there. Anyways, this has been Let's Mix Live, where we do live mix sessions for educational entertainment purposes. And again, my name is Mike Langford. I'm a producer, engineer, and mixer based out of Toronto. If you have any songs that you're curious about me mixing from that site in particular, leave those in the comments below as well, and see if we can put those in the queue. I'm here Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Thursdays at noon p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to help support the channel, again, this is for education purposes. If you want to help support the channel, remember to like this video and subscribe. And if you have any friends, especially people in your band that are taking a swing at some mixing and want a little bit of guidance, again, I'm not here to show you what you should do, but what you could do. If they want to look over someone's shoulder about how they might approach certain things, this could be a good place for them to come and hang out. So, because I get it. I was one of you. All right, that's my time for tonight, before I just keep rambling. Katie says, have a great night. Have a great night, Katie. Thanks for stopping by. Kim, thanks for stopping by. Liz, thanks for stopping by. Gemma, thanks for stopping by. Justin, thanks for stopping by. I know where you are right now, Justin. I know where you are right now. But thanks for stopping by, everybody. And I will see you with a new song Thursday afternoon. I'll talk to you later.